Hey there, YouTubers. This is Gus Astacio from Healing X Outreach. Was the podcast, now just the Counter Cult Ministry here on YouTube and on Facebook. I had a really great conversation last night with someone really special to me, and I'm trying to, you know what, this is a new clip on, and I'm trying to figure out okay, I think that's the camera. I look at that thing right there. But it's a kind of a close-up of my face, and I know that's kind of scary for a lot of you guys. But so anyway, I'll do my best to work with this right now. It's new. I'm here on a little bit of a passenger break and waiting for someone, and so I wanted to go ahead and share with you a little something about people that come out of the cults, people that are in church for a long period of time, and maybe have not experienced the things that we have experienced coming out of the cults and out of extreme religions and totalitarianism and rules and restrictions, and have had really pretty much a good life in a church and get kind of bored with things, or just don't feel the presence of God in their life. And you know, for me, I had a dramatic conversion experience, and so in a way that does kind of really deal with the issue. I'm trying to see, what do I look at? I think I look there. Anyway, just deal with the fact that my eyes are kind of looking googly right now because I don't know where to look at on my phone. So when I first became a Christian, you know, being a former Jehovah's Witness who is kind of still very anti-supernatural, even though they do have some kind of crazy stuff that is, you know, mythology a little bit, you know, the scary thing about demons, but was very anti-supernatural as far as how God engages us is in faith. And I remember I went to a little Baptist church, and it was a little book study that we was going through, a book called Experiencing God by the author was Henry Blackaby. And one of the things that becoming a Christian that I've made a concentrated effort to is that I really want to come to know God. And I wanted to come to know God, and I still am experiencing knowing God constantly, every day. And so I think that what happens is when you come out of a dramatic experience, you have like Paul did on the road to Damascus. Jesus appeared, and it just transformed, it put him on fire, and you have this passion that very few people will tend to have because of the experience, because you know what it's like to be hungry, you know what it's like to be under oppression and to be oppressed, and so you feel blessed in everything. And going to a nominal Christian church, going to a regular Christian church, everything is a blessing for you, while someone who's probably been going to church for 30 years and have never experienced what you have, you know, you can't tell a person who's never been hungry what it's like to be hungry, and they may not feel the same way you do. This is kind of, I know my eyes look crazy. Okay, it might be my father's lazy eye coming to the forefront right now. All right, let me just stop talking about my eyes. So anyway, so I had this conversation, and someone who is really kind of raised in the faith, and they don't know what it's like to feel God's love. They don't know what that, it's like. They think maybe it's supposed to be some great experience. And I just want to say this to you who are Christians, or you who have been going to church for however long, or have been raised in the Christian church, and you think that that you're supposed to feel something magnificent. It's up to you. It's not up to God. God speaks to us all around us. And you have to make a concentrated effort. God is actually reaching out to you. Philosophically, and one of my great mentors who passed away, I think it was in 2011, was Dr. Ronald Nash, and he was a philosophy professor at Reformed Theological Seminary and at Southern Baptist Seminary. Now, I never went to neither one of those seminaries, but me and Nash had an email relationship, and we would dialogue, and he actually came and spoke at a conference that I co-hosted, and we had a great relationship when he was alive. And he was fantastic. I mean, he has some great books on philosophy, but a brilliant man. And one of the things that I remember reading in one of Nash's books was, I think it was Mankind in the Mind of God, something like that, Man in the Mind of God, was that God has spoken to us by creation. When God created creation, he spoke to humanity. When you look at a sunset, God is speaking to you. When you look at this beautiful planet, when you have a kitten in your hands, God is speaking to you. When you have children, God is speaking to you. When you read the Bible, it is God's letter to you, his love letter to you of what he wants for your life. He wants the best for you, of the errors of the past as to learn from them, and what he did for us by sending his son. And also about the great day, the great feast day that we will experience with Christ, our husbandly owner. This is God speaking to you. And if you really want to experience God, and this is to the person I was speaking to last night, you have to do your part. You want to really know God and feel his love, you have to do your part. And that means letting go. Let go of all your inhibitions. Let go of your fears. Worship God. There's so much. There was a great sermon by Pastor Christopher Ogden, and there's a YouTube channel here for LCOOS, which is Lutheran Church of Our Savior. I think just put LCOOS. And Christopher Ogden, my former pastor, a great mentor, a great man of mine, a great mentorship I received under him, spoke in a sermon that I had attended and our family attended, and he talked about worshiping God. And how do you, he went to Death Valley and he saw how beautiful the valley was. And how do you worship God? You cannot help but worship God because he's beautiful. And for example, his wife, he was like, my wife is beautiful. And he gave the experience about at his wedding, one of the Lutheran directors, I guess, or convention, whatever, Top Dogs was there, and when she came down the aisle, he was like, whoa, because he couldn't help when he saw how beautiful she was. He expressed it. He was like, whoa, she's brother, I don't know how you got that. That's exactly what Chris said. Because when you see something beautiful, you can't help but express it. The way we feel about our family cats, we see our cats, we just can't help it. We're like, oh, they're so cute, they're so beautiful, we want to kiss them. And that's how you feel about a baby. That's how you feel, when you have a cat, you can't help but hug them or caress them or pet them. And when they make a little sound, you go, oh, because it's beautiful. It requires, not by demand, but it naturally bubbles forth this appreciation for its beauty. And so if you want to experience God, look at the world around you. If you're a Christian, you've been going to church, in our conversation, the thing is that if you have great parents, you don't have to have bad parents. to want to really appreciate good parenting. I had bad parents. I had bad parents. I had some bad parents. Okay, both as parents and as spiritual guides. They were not great, and so I can appreciate good parents, but it doesn't make me want to exchange my parents. I do have other surrogate parents in Christianity, in the church, and my mentors. They become like a parent figure to me. But if you have good parents, okay, and you've had good parents all your life, you've never had bad parents, it doesn't mean that now I have to try something new because I'm bored. You don't get bored with good parenting, do you? I mean, you appreciate you have good parents. You praise the fact that you have good parents. You're ecstatic that you have been blessed to have good parents. And so for those of us who have been in the church, who have been raised in the Christian faith, there should be no need or necessity to want to look for something else. You've had good parenting. You've had a good faith. And some people don't cherish the fact that they have been surrounded in a good church. They've had a good pastor. They've had a good faith. And when you've had experienced God in Christmas and Easter and the operations of the church and the people there in your family, and God is surrounding you with his love. God is your parents. God is the book. God is in nature. God is in a movie. God is in your good siblings. And what you need to do is take all of that great things that you have in your life and embrace it and cherish it. You don't have to experience the awful things that I've had to go through. You don't have to go through terrible things to appreciate the blessings that you have. And if God has given you so much blessing in life, you don't have to say, well, that's awful, because it's not. You've never experienced awfulness to want to experiment and find something else. What you need to do is take the time. Think for yourself about all the things that you're surrounded in your faith, and realize that God is there. God has spoken to you through your parents. God has spoken to you through the blessings of the church. God speaks to you through the music, and worship him. Thank him for all the blessings you have in your life, that you've never had to go through horrible churches, horrible religions, horrible parenting. You've never had to starve. You've never had to experience tragedy. Thank God for that. Worship him. You know, when I really feel the presence of God, I just let go. I lift my hands into the air and I worship him like a child does their father. I got to move up a little bit. Sorry about that, folks. And this is another shot of me. I'll leave it right here, actually. I'll leave it right there. I was doing the panoramas. Oh, there we go. All right. All right. Let's go back to our. There we go. All right. So, how do you experience God? You don't need tragedy to experience God. You can experience God through the blessings that you've had all your life. It's a great thing that you've never had to suffer for your faith. Thank God for it. He's all around you. Read his word. He's telling you about himself. He's expressing himself to you through his word. Watch a great film. He's expressing himself to you through movies or music. He's expressing himself through your family, through church, through Christmas, through Easter. In Christmas, we celebrate that the Lord loved us enough that he condescended himself to our flesh. And then in the resurrection and Easter, we celebrate that he loved us enough to rise from the grave because he wants us to have a risen day for ourselves, a deposit, and one day we will be with him in glory and worship him in his fullness. But we can worship him now. We can experience him now. No dramatic conversions necessary. Thank you, Lord, for all that you've done, for all the blessings you've surrounded me, for the good church, the good family I have, for the great pastoring, for the mentorship, for your word, for telling me about yourself. Embrace all those things. Read his word daily. Listen to music about his word, which includes his word. And embrace all of it. That's how you can experience God. It's time for you to do your part, to worship him, to experience him. No need to lose. No need to lose something to gain him. He's always there. He's waiting for you. His arms are already extended. It's time for you to extend yours. That's my message for experiencing God. Also, I strongly recommend Henry Blackaby's book, Experiencing God. I read 21 years ago. God bless you all. Bye-bye.